Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to turn this cheap blind box BJD into a one-of-a-kind custom woodland fairy. I'll go through each step with detailed instructions and give you some expert tips as a professional doll designer. You'll see how I made new eyes and repainted her face, body, and accessories. Let's get started! First, you'll need a doll. I got these two blind box dolls as a gift from Kika Goods. They're from a series called Antu Cute Beast Magic. You can watch my unboxing and honest reviews in my previous videos. You can buy these at kikagoods.com for $26 USD, which is very cheap for a ball-jointed doll. If you want to buy your own low-cost BJD, you can use my exclusive promo code for 10% off your purchase at Kika Goods. So I think these are adorable right out of the box, but if you've been watching my channel, you know that I love to repaint my dolls and even give them new outfits. I already had some extra doll dresses, which I got from AliExpress and Kika Goods. I wanted to see how these looked on my new doll. Ultimately, I decided to go with the second dress because look how cute she looks in it. The reason I chose the outfit first is because I want to repaint her hair color, and I think that the hair should match her overall aesthetic. First, let's make some new eyes. I have a separate tutorial for how to make these eyes that goes into more detail. It's linked in the description below, so I'll go through this part quickly. If this is your first time making eyes for a particular BJD face sculpt, I would remove the original eyes to measure the size. It's easy to remove the face and hair pieces by simply pulling them apart. I used a blunt toothpick to pop out the original eyes. Don't use anything too sharp that will scratch the eyes. Then I made some eye chips out of white clay that matched the original eye size. If anyone's wondering, the diameter I used is 1 centimeter. I drew out a new eye design in Procreate and printed it out in various sizes and colors to test out which one works best. I'm going to use these small green eyes at the top. So I'll cut them out with scissors. Here's the eye cutouts next to their clay eye chips. I glued the cutouts onto the clay eyes, then added some iridescent green glitter at the bottom, which will make her eyes sparkle and stand out. Don't add too much glitter because you'll still want to see your eye artwork underneath. Spread a drop of UV resin on top of the eyes to create a hard, glossy surface. Cure them under a UV lamp or in sunlight. Here's the finished eyes. I'm really happy with how sparkly they turned out. Now let's work on the hair. Remove the unicorn horn with some pliers. Pull slowly to avoid breaking it. The horn will get squished when you do this, but it will go back to its original shape. You can paint directly on the hair pieces with acrylic paint. I'm using Golden Fluid Acrylics, which is a professional paint brand. I'm planning a video showing you cheap alternatives to expensive art supplies, but I learned not to skimp on paint. I've tried all sorts of acrylics, and my favorite is Golden. By the way, everything I'm using in this tutorial is listed in my BJD supplies list, which is linked in the video description. I love making gradients, so I'm adding some pink to the bottom of her hair pieces, adding iridescent pigment for these pearls. Here's how her hair looks. You can see the purple to pink gradient, and I accentuated the sculpted swirls in her hair with the same pink color. I didn't paint the inside of the head because it will be covered up by the face. Before we paint the face, let's finish her accessories. You can pull off the gem at the top of her staff. I'm repainting it to be a purpley brown and adding some lighter purple details. Now we can prep the face. Use some acetone on cotton pads to wipe off the old face paint. Try to work quickly to avoid damaging the face. It was a bit difficult to remove paint from her sculpted eyelashes because they had tiny crevices. Now I'll spray the face with a coat of clear matte finishing spray. While I'm waiting for the face to dry, I'll start working on the body. This doll has a short dress that exposes her legs and arms, so I'm going to blush those parts. I'm removing her hooves so they don't get damaged in the process. To prevent the string from going inside her body, I'm hooking paper clips through the elastic string before I remove the feet. Just pull the foot until you see the elastic string. Put the end of the paper clip through the string. Remove her foot from the S-hook. Now do the other leg. Now we can prepare the blush palette. I used a craft knife to scrape chalk pastels into a powder. I'm using multiple pastels so that I can blend different colors for different parts of her body and makeup. I blended white, brown, and purple to slowly build up a gradient on her lower leg. I wanted this to reflect her dress colors so her lower body and upper body look cohesive. I'm applying very light orange blush on her knees. For body, a little bit of blush goes a long way, so it's better to start off very light. You can barely see the blush on her knees, but that's actually enough. I also put blush on her shoulders. Again, only do a very light dusting or else your doll might look like she has a rash or a fever. For her collarbone, use a small brush to get right between and blend it out towards her shoulders. I recommend using a warm tone for the hands. I blended the orange with just a tiny bit of pink. An easy way to blush the hands is to start in the palm and blend towards the fingertips. Only do very light blush at the fingertips. When you flip the hand over, use a small brush to get in between the knuckles and fingers. Blushing in between the fingers will actually look more realistic than blushing just the top surface of the fingers. We're done with the body, so I'll spray it with my matte finish. Now let's start the face. Mixing warm and cool toned blush will create more dimension and visual interest. I'm starting with a warm pale orange to do a base blush all over her cheeks and eyelids. Adding a very light dusting between her eyes. Now I'm going to use a cool light pink on the outer edges of her eyes and right below her eyes. This will give her a dreamy expression like she just woke up from a nap. Adding a bit more between the eyes. I blended pink and orange to use on her ears. You can go more heavy with blush on the ears. Try to concentrate the blush in the center. For the back of the ears, the blush should make a gradient from the outer edge. Here's the final blush. I know it looks really light, but trust me, it's enough. A beginner mistake is going too heavy on the blush and makeup. You can always add more later if you still feel like it's not enough. I'm adding the eyes that I just made to help me draw the eyeliner. This helps me get the proportions that I want. Right now I'm just sketching and filling in where I want the eyeliner to go. This is my first time working on a face with sculpted eyelashes, so I wanted to make sure I got it right. I'm using a Faber-Castell watercolor pencil. I had to sharpen it pretty often for this project. If you want to save more pencil, I recommend using a knife instead of a sharpener. You can get a super sharp point like this. It uses up less pencil too. At this point, you can erase any mistakes. I'm using a Staedtler Mars plastic eraser that I cut down to get a sharp edge. Finishing the sketch of her winged eyeliner. Her eye openings are really small, but I made her eyes look bigger by drawing a wide eyeliner. Adding some small detail to the inner part of her eyeliner. This will make her eyes look a bit more droopy and sleepy. Now let's draw the same thing on the left eye. Now I'm happy with my sketch, so let's see how she looks with her bangs. If your doll has sculpted hair like mine, remember to put it on the face periodically just to check that everything looks proportional. For example, you don't want to make her eyebrows too high or too low. I'm using a brown Derwent watercolor pencil to draw her lower eyeliner and eyelashes. She also has sculpted bottom lashes, so I'm just going over the existing eyelash area with my pencil. Drawing the other side. Here's how her eyes look so far. This is just the beginning stages, so it will look much better soon. I'm using the same brown pencil to draw the line of her eyelid. I'm turning them up at the inside corners. This will make her look a bit surprised, so her final expression will kind of be like she just woke up and is a bit surprised to see you. Let's add the hair back to see how everything looks so far. Her eyes are starting to come together, so let's switch gears and work on her mouth. Using watercolor pencils, I'm lightly sketching the shape of her mouth and lips. I want to give her an open mouth expression. I'm removing the eyes before preserving my sketch with a matte finishing spray. Now I can paint over the eyeliner without messing up the sketch underneath. Notice that I'm using purple paint. I never use black as the eyeliner color because I think it's too strong and overpowers my design. There are other colors you can use to enhance the aesthetic of your doll and make her look unique. Now I'll deepen her eyeshadow colors using watercolor pencil. I'm focusing this reddish purple directly under the eye to enhance her sleepy look. This will also draw your attention to the bottom center of her eyes where her glittery eyes will be. To create more dimension within the eyeliner itself, I'm using a black pencil just on the bottom edge of the purple eyeliner to make a shadow. The purple eyeshadow covered up some of the brown eyeliner, so I'm going over it again. Adding white to the eyelid makes it look more 3D. I only did the left eye here so you can see the difference. I painted white on the outer edges of her eye openings. This will make her eye look wider and also brighter. See the difference between the left and right side? Adding white pencil at the inner corners will create a more subtle widening and brightening effect. Now I'll do the other side. I'm almost done with the eyes, so I'm going to seal my progress again with a matte spray. While waiting for the face to dry, I painted her horns with a mixture of lavender paint and iridescent pearl pigment. I used a thin layer of white paint on the eyelids to make them stand out a little bit more. And I wanted the sculpted lashes to stand out, so I painted them with a lighter purple. Finishing the mouth with a combination of paint and watercolor pencil. I used this needle-pointed sculpting tool to create tiny highlights. I dipped the tip in paint and dotted along the bottom eyeliner to create evenly sized dots. Her sculpted eyeliner was creating a dark shadow at the top of the eye, so I decided to paint over that area with a light purple to brighten the eyes even more. You can add white pencil just underneath the eyes to highlight the aiguille. This should be subtle but will make your doll look cuter and more youthful. Now I've spray sealed my face again and I'm going to attach the eyes. Here she is, all finished. I absolutely love her dreamy expression. My favorite part is her glitter eyes. Even though her eyes are pretty small, the glitter really makes them stand out. Her partially open mouth looks like she's just about to say something to you. And I'm very happy with the gradients in her hair. Here's a closer look at her lavender pearl horn. I'll turn her around so you can see the gradient in the back of her hair. Maybe I'm biased because purple is my favorite color, but she's probably my favorite custom doll so far. What do you guys think of my doll? I think she's come a long way from her original look. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I have some more BJD dolls to customize, so keep an eye out for those videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time!